Hello guys, in today's lesson we're going to be carrying on with our perspective art, but today we're going to be looking at drawing using a focal point but on a horizon, okay? So our skill is, and as always ignore the Tuesday because we know it's Thursday, to draw using a single focal point and a horizon, and the context is we're going to be drawing a road that goes into the horizon, okay? So if we have a little recap, what is a focal point or a vanishing point? In art, a vanishing point or a focal point is the point in a perspective drawing where lines that are either parallel, so that go alongside each other and don't meet, to each other are not parallel to the main subject of the painting or drawing, come together. So at this point, the two parallel lines seem to join. It can be experienced in real life while seeing a parallel set of rails like we have here, or two parallel lines of a road like we have here, and they appear to meet at a faraway point. So if you have a look, you've got rails here and you've got a road, and as you can see, it looks as though in the distance it looks like they meet, doesn't it? Even though they actually stay parallel. That's the whole that's what happens on a horizon with these parallel lines. So in our last drawings we had a focal and vanishing point, but we didn't have a horizon. We were looking from above. We had a bird's eye view like on here. Today we're going to include both, okay? So we've got the vanishing point here, and this line here is the horizon, okay? And you'll see that better off next slide. I'll show you. So as always, what you'll need is a piece of paper, a ruler, a pencil, and a rubber, okay? So make sure you have those things. And this is what we're going to be doing today. So as always, I'll break it down step by step, but this just gives you a rough guide of what we're going to be doing today, okay? So you should have a correctly proportioned house like this. You must have a road with lines going down, but you could add some telephone wires, okay? So this one's a fence. So you could either have telephone wires, you could have a fence, it's up to you. You can have a go at doing a few different ones. So to start off, what you need to do is you need to draw, using your ruler, a straight line all the way across your paper. Now, it's not through the middle, it's about 2/3 of the way up. So draw yourself a line going all the way through, and then your vanishing point is going to be right in the middle of that line. So my line's about 30 centimetres, and I put my vanishing point where the 15 centimetre mark is. So have a go at doing that, and then on the next bit we're going to draw the road, okay? Right, so here is my road with the lines going down. The easiest way that I found to do this was line your ruler up with the vanishing point, go down to here, make a dot, and then measure on each side an equal distance. So I think I did about, let me think, I think it was about 3 or 4 centimetres on this side, and then the same on the other side. Do a dot, and then line your ruler up and draw a line straight to that vanishing point, okay? And the same on this side. And then with your lines, as you can see, they start off quite thick and far apart, and then as I go further towards the vanishing point, they get thinner and they go closer together. Now, this can be quite tricky, so if it takes you a few goes, that's absolutely fine. Just keep doing it until you get it right. But that's our next step. So the lines for the road, and already I think it looks really cool. And then you add your lines in like that, okay? So remember, if you have to do it again, that's absolutely fine. So pause your video, have a go at doing that, and then I'll show you what we're doing on the next part. Right, so we're going to start doing our house. So you don't want it right next to the road, you don't want it right next to the edge, you want it just a little bit further away. So draw yourself, using your ruler, draw yourself a square with a triangle on top. So how I did this was, obviously you draw your square, same length on each side, and then to draw your triangle, find the halfway point here, measure up a little bit, draw a dot, and then make a line down to here, and then a line down to here, and then you'll have a nice equal shape. Okay, so pause your video, have a go at doing that, and we'll move on to the next step. Right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to help ourselves to make our house look in proportion, and to do that we need our ruler here. And what I'm going to do is I've lined it up here with this dot all the way up to the vanishing point, and I'm drawing a line from here to here. It's a bit like the buildings we did actually, from this point all the way up to the vanishing point, and then from this point all the way up to the vanishing point, and that is going to help you to draw your house correctly. Now you want to try and do these lines quite faint because you're going to rub them out, so don't do them too hard because we're going to go over them in a little bit later. So pause your video, get those lines drawn, and then on this piece of paper, look, it should look like this. Okay, so it's really similar to how we did our buildings, but this is not a bird's eye view, but it's just showing you how it should look going into the distance. And it looks really weird for now, but you'll understand on the next one. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the other side of my house. And as you can see, I did the wrong line there, so I rubbed it out and I started again here. So you want it to be in line, so it's going to be parallel to this line. So in line with it, measure going to this line and then down. So line your ruler up with this to draw your line here. Excuse me, to draw your line here, and then line your ruler up with this line to draw it here. Okay, so pause the video, have a go at doing that, and then we're going to rub these lines out. So you're going to need your rubber. So on this one, so I'm rubbing out the lines here so that I'll just be left with my house. Okay, so that it should look like this. Okay, so just ignore that for now, I'll explain that in a minute. So now you've got your house and it's disappearing sort of into the vanishing point, and you've got rid of your guidelines so that you're just left with your house. So now what you're going to do is you're going to draw yourself a window. So draw yourself a square on the back like this, and now to draw the door, because you've still got to make sure that you're drawing in the correct proportions and the correct perspective. So what you want to do is draw yourself a straight line all the way into the vanishing point. That will show you it's going to be the top of your door, and then what you're going to do is you're going to draw straight lines going down on either side so that it looks like this. Okay, and as you can see, I've then rubbed out that line. So you're going to draw your guideline, and then on this side, straight line down, another straight line down, and then carefully rub out your guideline so that you're then just left with a door. Okay? Right, now we're going to have a go at putting a fence next to it. So you can either do a fence or you can do a telephone wire. It's up to you. I'm going to show you the fence on this one, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, just like I did my house, I'm going to draw some guidelines. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but I've done it quite faintly here. From my vanishing point all the way down to here, I've drawn a line, and then I draw another line next to it. So look, it's similar to the road, isn't it? But this is going to really help me to draw my lines correctly, okay? So remember, don't do it hard because you're going to rub these out once you've done the fence. And then what you're going to do, so first thing you do is you're going to draw your straight lines. So line your ruler up with the bottom of the paper so that you know that it's straight, and then you're just going to draw lines between these guidelines, so straight lines between the diagonal guidelines. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just like before, they start off quite spaced apart, and then they get closer the closer they get to the vanishing point. Okay, and then I did the part of the fence here. I'm not sure what that's called actually. And then I just did diagonal lines going down again. So I did 2 of those diagonal lines going down again. And then what you need to do is you need to rub out. So there's a bit of a close up there. You probably don't need that. Bit of a close up there to see the fence here. Again, you could just change that into telephone wires if you just added another line here to show like it was two-sided. So Now what you need to do is you need to rub out these guidelines here so that you're just left with a fence. And then you'll be left with your road, your fence and your house. Like this. Okay, so this is what you should be left with. Okay, so you've got your horizon here. You've then got your road going off into your vanishing point with your lines. You've got your house here, and then you've got your fence, your telephone pole here, which I think these are telephone wires actually. I thought they were a fence, but actually I think they're too big to be a fence. So these are your telephone wires. So you don't have to add those, but I think it really adds something to the picture if you do. And then what you can do is you can have a go at home colouring in. You could add a few different things if you wanted to, like when we did the buildings, we added lots of colour, we added things on top of the buildings. Shall we have a look at what we've got up here? So here, can you see they've added lots and lots of colour? They've added trees, they've got a sun here, they've got clouds. Have a go at adding more things, because now you know you can just follow this guide so that you have these steps. You end up with something along these lines. Oh, excuse me. You end up with something along these lines and you can just add to it. So you could do the same thing here and just build it into a tree. Or you could add a sun here, you could do some clouds here. It's completely up to you, but this is just showing you how you can draw a focal point into the horizon. And on the next lesson, we are going to build on that. So we're going to have a look at, I think we're going to look at a focal point at different points of the horizon. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've done. And if you can add a bit of colour, if you can add a bit more detail, I think that'd be really, really great to see. So send that into the email address or include it into your home learning packs when you bring them back at the end of the week. All right, guys, I hope you have a lovely week and I'll see you soon, hopefully.